And you have trouble, don't you? Because you are a great lookalike. I looked twice when you were sitting there. I thought, is that Sacha Baron Cohen right there?
Who?
Sacha Baron Cohen?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Who's he? Who's he? But you have some trouble, right, sometimes when people don't actually believe that you're a lookalike. They really think you're the real deal.
It comes up, but I will tell people that I'm not. I don't profess to be the original. It's ultimately a tribute act, but yeah, I've been at an event where I did my show. Everything kind of, all the right bits hit the right moments, and the audience was wicked. We finished the show, and then usually after the show, we stick around, have some photos and a bit of banter with whoever's at the gig. And this geezer came up for the photos, and he's telling me about the individual scenes from the film, and asking me about when the next film's coming out and things like that. And I said, well, I can't, obviously really tell you that. He's calling me Sacha this, Sacha that.
So you're taking it, you're playing along, taking it.
Until he starts calling me Sacha, and then I said, I can't tell you when the next film's coming out because I ain't the real one. And so he starts laughing, and I was like, no, for real, I ain't the real one. Long story short, he wouldn't believe that I was an impersonator, and there's other people coming up to have pictures taken or a bit of banter or whatever, and I can see this guy, he's lurking about, he's checking me out from different angles.
He's getting quite agitated.
A little bit agitated,
yeah.
Jumping in, pushing other people out of the way. No, be honest with me, you is the real one. I said, I'm telling you, I'm right in front of you, I swear. Obviously, me don't come out of the voice or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he's having more trouble. Now this escalated a little bit, and while other people are trying to have this turned into a full-blown argument in the middle of the place, in front of everyone, with him insisting that I is the real one, and me explaining that I'm not.
So how did it end? What happened?
It ended when
did you just
I had to go. No, look, I don't.
You can't reveal.
I can't reveal.
That's the whole thing.
Exactly. So eventually, he had to go. And he followed me all the way to the dressing room, about as far as he legally could. But he left certain that I was the real one.
So he still thinks you're Sacha Baron Cohen?
Probably.
Wow. That's quite some credit. You should have that story on your website for clients.
I know, and
Do you have that story?
I don't put it up there for clients. Thankfully, I get enough positive feedback that, we can take up a little sound bites or quotes or feedback or whatever.
Yeah.
People have been very complimentary about it, and they usually, same for you, if you have a good night of comedy, you'll tell people about it, because there's so few people doing this sort of weird thing that I do, it's not hard for people to find me, so yeah.
Okay. And you get found quite a lot, don't you? Because not only do you do bits on telly, but you do private gigs.
Yeah. So a lot of sort of private functions, corporate events, things like that. Me do a show which is a bit of like 5 minutes of stand-up, and then an interview with someone connected to the event. So if it's like a corporate do, me will chat to the CEO or the directors of the company. If it's a wedding, I'll drop in on that sort of bash and interview the bride and groom. And it's supposed to be, reminiscent of what you would maybe expect the original to do if he was to drop in on an event.
Now, I can imagine that you get hired by some quite important people. Your kind of act, how good you are. Because I've seen some hacky acts in my time. I've seen a lot of hacky acts.
Yeah.
And you're up there. You're up there. Respect. Boom. So have you been booked by many VIPs in your time?
So yeah, I get a few bookings here and there, and there was one in particular who I'm not actually allowed to talk about, but
NDA.
I can't drop the name. What I can
NDA.
tell you is that they are one of the world's most powerful families. The head of the family. I can't give anything away. I can't give
it's not Russian.
It's actually not Russian,
Not
but
Russian.
if you name enough countries, we're going to whittle it down.
China.
But they basically hired me to. So another sort of string to the bow is that I make a bit of video content to sort of mimic the style of the original episodes. Again, often for like private functions. So this family was having a big family event coming up, and they wanted, as an alternative to a speech, me basically interviewing different members of their family about the person who the party was for. And we did it like an MTV crib style piece. So I'm chatting about different rooms in the house and
Yeah,
how, and this is a sick crib, by the way.
Yeah.
Proper sick.
Yeah, I can
Like,
imagine.
things that are objects that talk to you and things like that.
The Chinese have very big objects.
We're not going to Chinese room.
Oh,
No, you're not going to get there.
Russia,
But
China.
Anyway, we do this thing, amazing crib, and they've got their own personal chef, and for the shoot, Im keeps making like dishes for all the crew and myself and everyone that's on the but we got really sort of stuck for time. And all these I'm seeing at the corner of my eye, all these beautiful dishes coming out next to, and they're there, and then they go, and then something else appears. We didn't have time to sit and eat any of them. I was properly gutted about it. Point is, we make all this thing, we shot it all, it looks sick, lovely job on the edit, and I can't show a single person because we've basically been through their whole crib, talking about the different rooms of the house for security reasons. There's nothing I can do with that footage, you know?
Stubborn Americans for you.
Not American.
Oh, man.
I like the way you're trying though, you know? See.
Have we got a guess? Was it a royal? Not a royal.
Not a royal. Not a royal.
Although he's saying that differently to the others.
I can say it the same way. Definitely no member of the royal family.
Okay. And you're also a writer as well, right?
2 bits of writing, yeah.
Okay, what have you written?
I've scribbled a few little sketches, bits and bobs here and there, and you know, a while back, having done this for a while, I thought probably worth writing something about this weird sort of unglamorous world of lookalikes, tribute artists, impersonators, because it's a funny old game.
It's quite a while. Do you kind of meet up with other lookalikes? Is there like a lookalike community?
For sure. Well, there is a community in that, you know, there's people that have been out there for years doing this sort of thing, be it for other characters. Some of them look the part but don't sound it. Some of it sound it, don't look it. Some of them look it, they've got the voice as well. Some of them can do the man. You know, there's a whole mixed bag out there.
What's been the worst that you've seen? Don't say the name of the artist, just the worst lookalike. Like, say the celebrity name. What's the...
The worst one that I have seen, there's so many. There's so many. I'm trying to think of just one that stood out though. There was one, okay, a few years ago, we went to something in Florida. They have a big event for, I say people like me, but people who do this sort of thing, right? Called the Sunburst Convention for Celebrity Impersonators.
Okay.
It's an annual event. They invite all the sort of lookalike and entertainment agents in the industry to come and look. And every performer, be it a tribute act, a lookalike, an impersonator, comes on and does their thing. And there was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be John Lennon or something like that. And you know, this is an American person doing a Liverpool accent or their version of it, and then singing when, you know, they probably shouldn't have been singing. But look, you take it all with a pinch of salt because the whole industry, you know, it has got a bit of that tackiness to it. But I think with that almost anti-glamour of people pretending to be more successful people or more high-profile people, there's a lot of comedy in that sort of crapness. Can we say crap?
You can say crap. That gives you a lot of material to write.
It does. There's a lot of cringe factor there. And yeah, I started writing about it because I thought it was funny. And, you know, not purely all one lookalike having a conversation with another impersonator, but the conversations that you hear between agents and stuff like that. And I thought, you know, this has got legs. It's not really been done before. And there's comedy here. So I'm scribbling, but the more I'm scribbling, the more I'm thinking now of the lookalikes that I know there's quite a lot that really look the part, but they're not really actors or comedians, and they're, you know, they're not used to performing out of their comfort zone, out of the act. And the more I wrote, the more I just felt in my gut that it wasn't going to work because I didn't know enough people who not only looked and sounded the part, but would maybe be comfortable learning and delivering these lines in the way that I think to do it comic justice, you'd have to be able, you'd have to be able to nail it. And so I think to expect that from people who are saying, look, you know, I don't profess to be that. I'm just someone who looks like Del Boy or whatever. it's maybe a big ask. So I kind of gave up on writing it. And then a few years later, I'm flicking on the telly and I see this thing where there's lookalikes chatting to cat. It's like a mockumentary, and there's lookalikes talking, a couple that I know, but they're doing it really convincingly. The humor's there. It had a little bit, the episode I saw had a little bit of a Christopher Guest vibe to it. I'm quite a big fan of those sort of Best in Show, Spinal Tap mockumentaries. And it was there, and it seemed natural. And I was trying to figure out, you know, the formula of how they did it, how it was so well directed, so well performed. And then eventually I got a call to take part in the show.
Wow, so you watched it first, then they called you?
There was like a pilot that was out. There was like a one-off episode that I think they were sort of testing the waters with. And then after that, yeah, they got in touch and they said, look, it's got great viewings, we're great ratings. We're going to make some more episodes. Do you want to get involved? And almost just out of the curiosity of seeing how they'd crack this formula for making everything so naturally funny, I bit their hand off. I said, it looks great. Yeah. This is a great, I think it's a very good forum, if you like, or a good way for people who are impersonators or lookalikes to be seen. Yeah. Because I think on TV, attempts in the past have been, unfortunately, they've not really broken that sort of tackiness, that cringe factor.
It's something which is easy to hack. You can hack away at it and get something kind of bodged together. It's one of those things. It's just really hard to do well.
I think so. Yeah. And often I think in the past what they've done is they've thought, how can we translate this to TV? And there's been like talent shows style things where people are coming on waving, a bit like stars in their eyes and things like that. And it doesn't seem to, I think that sort of cringe factor, that naffness is still there, whereas this series Lookalikes that I saw that's now become pretty big, I'm pleased to say, that actually embodied it with more of a funny vibe, a clever vibe. The production looks good, the quality of it looks good. It's, it's done with that cringe factor that a bit like when you're watching The Office. Oh, yeah. Or Extras or something like that. Not, it's different, don't get me wrong, sure. But it's that same feeling, that same
cringy,
sort of
awkwardness.
Yeah. So it's now into the second series.
Well done.
And I was kind of gutted that someone beat me to it, but yeah, this is how they sorted it out. Rather than sending people scripts and giving them lines to learn, it is a directed reality series. So it's not your standard sitcom. It's part reality, part scripted to the sense that they tell you what they want to happen in the scene. But they say, do it in your own words. You go in, try and get as much work as you can out of that agent or whatever. And the scene unwinds. The reason why the lines feel so natural is because they are natural. They're using their own words, everyone on there. And I think it looks and sounds proper good, innit?
Great. Enough respect.
Respect.
Ooh. So if someone wants to check that out, what'll they do?
It's called Lookalikes.
Yeah.
I think the last episode has already been on, but it's on 4OD.
4OD, yeah.
It was on Channel 4. I think it's a 3 or 4 episode miniseries. Check out Lookalikes on Channel 4. Watch out for me in episode 1. Eyes the geezer in the bogs.
He's in the bogs.
Yeah, don't misconstrue that.
No. Last question, how's your Julie?
My Julie, she's actually in hospital.
Oh, what
happened? At the moment. She got into a little accident while she was getting creative with the lady trimmer.
Okay.
It was a dodgy wall socket, small electrical fire, made its way straight to her vajafro.
Ouch.
Yeah. On the plus side, she is now on record as starting Stains Upon Thames' first ever bushfire.
Oh, okay. So. Boom. Highly recommend Philips. Philips, I'll give you the model code after.
You do it for yourself?
Oh, yes, it's a bare land down there.
Okay, completely?
Yeah. Completely.
For Hollywood?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So why not just go for the waxing? Why bother using
the waxing, first we need to get the kit, then you need to actually apply it. There's just time.
But you're definitely an advocate for manscaping.
Absolutely, manscaping all the way. To the extreme. To the extreme.
Nothing there. You can eat your dinner off it?
Well, you could, yeah. I wouldn't try. It's sweaty as hell right now, but you could.
I mean, I wasn't offering.
You could.
Just putting it out there.
Okay. We could try and...
Maybe...
I've got a turkey roll.
Close.
Yeah.
I think maybe for another show.
Another show.
with a different person who's got on it.
We'll try that. Thank you so much.
Respect.
I can't do the finger thing. Ah!
Celebrity games, pranks, and interviews hosted by Kevin Durham.
Okay.